Welcome to the SLP Stress Management Podcast, your place to manage stress, reduce your risk of burnout, and find more balance in your life as an SLP, a helping professional, or simply as a human. I'm your host, Jessie Andricks, and today we're going to be talking about what can resilience do for you. All right, so this is no surprise. Stress is ongoing and ever-growing. That is, a huge understatement. We are all feeling this stress. We felt it before the pandemic. We feel it now, and it just sort of changes, continues, grows. And it can feel as if there is nothing that we can do about it, but it can also feel that we are constantly trying to do something about it. So there are tools you can use to manage stress and to help reduce it, right? That's what the whole podcast is about. And while these are helpful and effective, they can also at times lead to feeling more overwhelmed, more drained, the very things that you're trying to work through. And this is because while you're doing this, you're often so focused on the stress piece of the puzzle, micromanaging, always evaluating, and always focused on it. So what do we do then? How can it still work? How can you manage? How can you work through stress if sometimes the managing of it leads to more stress? Well, if you shift your focus slightly, you can use these tools and strategies to not manage stress necessarily, but instead cultivate resilience around it. So the APA defines resilience as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress. Life is a significant source of stress these days for most people. But this could be your health, finances, relationships, small stress, major trauma, workplace requirements, all things out of your control. Resilience does not ignore the things that are really hard or seemingly impossible and absolutely unfair. Instead, it keeps you moving forward. So you're not stuck in what's happening, but you're moving through it, feeling less overwhelmed and weighed down by it. It gives you hope and a way to take action. You feel it. You let it sink in. That's the stress. You're letting that sink in. You're feeling it. And then you maybe move forward from it, or you let it all integrate to become a part of you, and then you move and you grow from there. Resilience is your superpower when it comes to stress. So before the pandemic, we were facing stress, major stress in the field of speech language pathology, being an SLP. And also just being a helping professional. These workplaces were facing major stress, and it's only grown since then. And even in an ideal world and a workplace, stress could come along, and it would come along in some way. So if it's there, and that's the reality of the situation, which, by the way, sucks. And it's not how any of us thought our lives would go. And this is nothing that we would want or wish upon anyone to ever happen again, right? But even so, that's the reality of this situation. Resilience gives you a way to utilize it, to utilize what we're facing, to move through it. And I know sometimes we don't want to hear this, but to learn from it and to come out the other side maybe a little bit stronger, but also to come out of it a little easier each time. So we're not stuck in it as long. Resilience offers you a way to work with that stress, not avoid or hyperfocus or micromanage it away. So it doesn't mean that you're like, yes, I'm so excited about this and I'm so happy to be stressed out. It doesn't mean that you like receive it with open arms, but it also doesn't mean that you ignore it. Like you're not ignoring that not so great feeling that you have, or you're not ignoring the experiences that you face, and you're not only focusing on the bright side. So resilience is not saying like the silver lining here, or well, looking at the bright side of things, at least this is happening. It means that you come back from those stressful moments easier, with less of it sticking with you and with less of being stuck in the stress with no way out. So here are a few things that resilience can do for you. So it can help you stop the constant managing of stress. Instead of focusing on stress and micromanaging and figuring out, how you feel, how much is the stress growing, how much is it not growing, can I manage this a little bit more, can I do a little better, and building onto the stress from there within the stress itself. Like resilience helps you to not let the stress affect you as deeply in the first place. And it continually works through it without you having to focus and without your focus having to constantly be on the stress. So it's helping you do the work like in the background, deep within. This helps keep the stress from growing. So resilience gives you the tools to like cut through the stress and to move forward from it without letting it continue to grow and overwhelm you. So it allows you to build practices that help reduce the stress response and shift you out of negative thoughts and patterns. And it helps you do this faster and easily. It helps you recognize it, and it helps you say, okay, I see it, I'm feeling it. Here's, I'm not stuck in this. Here's where we're going from here. And it does this by helping you build a foundation of non-toxic optimism. Resilience is rooted in like the positive psychology and positivity, but not in the toxic form. It's comes from the practice of noticing what is working, what you can learn, and noticing the positive aspects of your daily life. So this helps to build like true non-toxic optimism. This saying like, yes, this is hard, but at my core, in my foundation, I have optimism. There is a positive outlook on life. And this helps your brain to rewire that stress response, to keep looking for the positive, not the bright side, but the other side of things that we're not always focused on. And that'll help turn down that stress response in the brain. It also helps you come back from hard times easier. So it's not that it ignores the hard times. It doesn't mean that there won't be, but it gives you tools to notice how you're really feeling in those tough times and challenging moments, and then how to use those tools to move through it and to come back faster, oftentimes stronger, and what to do with what you've been through. Meaning, purpose. It's not that you wish the stress on anyone, but that you use the experiences within it. It also helps you just overall reduce the risk of chronic stress and burnout. Like we could just maybe call that stress management, right? But we are not, because we're not focusing on the managing and the micromanaging and the avoiding and the ignoring that sometimes comes with that. So it helps reduce the risk of chronic stress and burnout. Resilience helps to lessen how deeply you're affected by and overwhelmed by the stressors you face. It's like a wall that goes up. Not that the wall completely ignores, right? But that it's like you have this, or maybe it's like a little bit of a shield that flexes and you're hit with those stressors and they come and they hit you and then they bounce back away from you. So you feel them, they're there, they're affecting you, but they're not staying with you. So resilience helps you to lessen how deeply you're affected by them, how they keep growing, and it keeps them from continuing to build, which is what leads to chronic stress and burnout. So those stressors are there, but they're not sticking with you. They are there, they show up, you feel what you feel from them, and you're able to move on. So practices that cultivate resilience help to reset your stress response, and they lessen that instant triggering of it and how long it stays triggered. So now that you know a little bit about resilience, how can you start to turn towards it? To, instead of micromanaging, grow and build this resilience. You could practice things like noticing the positive, having gratitude, looking at what can I learn, not what have I learned, because that is a little bit more of the should micromanage control, but almost like a punishment. But like, what could I learn from this? What is working here? What is going well? So I'd love to know where you are going to make some shifts and start to put some of this resilience and cultivating it into your day. Share in the comments below. And if you want to learn even more about the practices that you can use and a little bit more about the research and just more about building resilience overall and dive deeper into this topic, make sure to check out the Building Resilience workshop as part of the Resilient SLP. This is the first workshop, the opening workshop of this monthly membership, and it's now available to purchase on its own until January 31st, 2022. Or it's available at any time within a membership to the Resilient SLP workshop series. So in the Building Resilience workshop, you'll explore what resilience is and what it means, learn why it's so important when working through stress, look at ways to build resilience in your daily life, practice some of these resilience building strategies, and then make a plan for building your resilience. You can find out more details on this workshop and how to sign up for that one single workshop, or how to get the entire monthly series of workshops where we continue to build and explore topics of resilience, mindfulness, yoga, stress, and working through all of these things together. You can find that at jessieandrix.com. Look at the menu tab for membership for more details. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I can't wait to have you back here next time and for you to tune in to some of these upcoming workshops. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of simply managing stress. So if you constantly feel like you're managing your stress and you're focusing your stress and you will join me for this new monthly workshop series that's launching soon. So join me for the Resilient SLP. Non-stop, but the effects of it and the way that it sticks with you can be lessened through resilience. In the Resilient SLP, you'll get schedules to bringing more mindfulness into your workplace itself, to things like yoga practices and meditation. And you'll have the opportunity, depending on the workshop, to earn professional development hours, either for ASHA or even for Yoga Alliance. Find out more at the link below or at jessieandrix.com/the-resilient-slp-monthly-workshop-series, or just click the link below. Look for the Resilient SLP starting soon. I can't wait to have you join.